I'll say, I wish this had a noise when anyone joined. Is that an option? Is it? Eh. Obviously, just doing some painting. I'll ask your questions. Feel free. I'll turn my head around and read a few after I get done with this section here. Or if you see in my bio, there's a Q&A. Feel free to put a question in there. I'll be more than happy to answer it with a video or a message directly to you. Working on a landscape. Sadly, I'm working on it kind of segmentedly. Usually try not to do this, especially later in my career, but still I kind of like the way this is looking, especially with the brush strokes up close. I'll be posting more videos very soon with more detailed views of what I'm doing. I have an image here I'm working off of and using as a general guideline, but a little adjustment on the colors. I'm using more oranges and blues and using those combined to make grays. But then adding a little bit of accents with some alizarin crimson, a little bit cadmium red, chromium oxide green. For some reason, I really like chromium oxide even more than viridian and uh, sap green and other greens. It has an earthy feel, so I just like that better. I feel this painting is going to take me half past forever, and I'm okay with that because I'm being methodical and going completely nuts, but it's cute. It'll be like the back of my head. I've been working on my hair for several years now. Haven't had a haircut in half past forever. It's not because of COVID, it's just because I like long hair. I always grow it out and donate as much as I can. Last time I donated 24 inches of hair. The reason I actually grow out my hair is because when I was in third grade, my dad got really upset with me and was like, "Boys should have short hair." And I had access to free haircuts because my aunt was a beautician. So I basically went, "Well, I'm not cutting my hair anymore." But that's the thing about my dad. He thought all boys should have short hair, but at the same time, he never fought me having long hair. He just one of those things where if I do cut my hair short or shorter, he praises it, but he never asks when I'm getting a haircut or anything like that. My mom is constantly asking me when I'm going to lose weight, and I'm trying. But honestly, it's one of those reverse psychology things that every time she makes a comment about it, I end up like, let's go to a restaurant. Let's eat a bunch of crud. Ooh, chocolate. AKA, I saw my parents this weekend, so I had 2 plates of barbecue. Great barbecue place here too, called Rusted Silo. Some of the best brisket I've ever had. Okay, I'll be turning around looking soon. I just want to get the brown brush stroke right here. And I know like brown, it's not really brown. It's actually a combination of orange and black and blue. And I do like using black. I think there's sometimes necessity to use black, or if you use it correctly. I'm not instantly using it as a form to make things dark. I'm using it as an additional color. Oh, you hear my cat yelling, trying to get into the bedroom with my wife. Let's see. Hi, everyone. Looks like there's one person still here. Cool. Well, thank you for coming, watching. I don't know how long I'll do this. I haven't done something there and me here yet. This is the first live where I'm actually painting. And I don't know if talking is necessary for it. Once again, feel free to ask questions if you have any. I have a Q&A in my bio. I am kind of just working on this segment down here. This is like the main root structure from the tree blowing over. I think it's really, really cool. I know when I get up here, it's going to be quite a mess. So I'm trying to find this area in order to, how can I put it? Know what I have to reach at this level to match this level. I feel with the imagery up there, I will be making up a lot of it, especially with the tree limbs and the leaves and the grass underneath. Yeah, this is a tree from Colorado. I believe is a place called Garden of the Gods, and it's a little hiking trail park. Colorado Springs, or at least it's just west of Colorado Springs. Oh, there, I lost where I was working in. My friends and I, we actually went out there for the Great American Beer Festival, and it was a really cool festival. And we stayed several weeks after to visit parks, but also visit a ton of breweries. And nothing wrong with Colorado Springs, but their breweries were awful, but their parks were awesome. I don't think we had one good beer the entire time we were in Colorado Springs. And when I say we hit up a bunch of bars and breweries, we hit up 26 breweries. We definitely could have hit up more, but we wanted to go to an art museum too. And we stayed there a lot longer than any of us expect us. Hi, Bubby. I don't know if you'll see him, but you might hear my cat. That's the thing. The brush gets muddy quite quickly, so I usually end up working on more of the dark tones. I always tell myself I'm going to work on the lighter stuff, get that down, because usually with lights or bright colors like that, it's a lot of paint. It's a thick layer of uh, paint, so it's more opaque. You really don't get the stuff under it shining through. And the dark stuff is usually very thin. I usually go in later, like in this, adds a little bit more texture. So when you get up close, it's a little bit more interesting. But just getting down to basic forms, it's really thinned down. And if I'm talking very weird, there is an echo in my head because of these headphones. TikTok should really have something for artists doing this. Whenever someone enters or questions asked, like a bell goes off. That way I know if anybody's behind me watching or if I'm just talking to nonsense. But now at least I could download this, post it to YouTube. I usually end up mixing up a big amount of color for a painting like this and just finding places it works. Did a little bit of blending with the brush, but not too much. But every time I paint, I always seem to have to clean my palette just so I have kind of a fresh start. But have a detailed list of the paints that I use, so down here and up here at least match visually with paint. I've had paintings before where I didn't keep track of that. Like I said, I was a very segmented painter in college. So I would paint one section and put too much time and detail into it, and then I start putting in elements of the background, and it looks like it didn't match at all. Nothing blended together. It wasn't cohesive, coherent, something. Coco Beware, the wrestler. Okay, go turn around here real quick. Oh, hey, Art and Things. Very cool individual. Yeah, it's nice to have a bunch of people have joined so far. Hey, you joined again. Hi. How are you doing today? It's weird painting live. I haven't done this in a long time. We're doing some sort of live painting or having someone watch. Right now, my foster kids end up watching me the most. Good to hear. Uh, if you have anything, like I said, eventually I'll get to it. That's a nice thing. Like, I don't know if you heard earlier, TikTok allows me to download this. Oh, awesome. Geez, what day is it? I know it's St. Patrick's Day. Made Irish stew today, but I guess it's the first day of spring. Yeah, it's still chilly out. It was 39 degrees this morning in Indianapolis, Indiana, USA. I am Irish. At least my name is McIntosh. We've traced it back my lineage to Ireland, and it went nowhere after that. Oh, thanks. Oh, that's a heat wave. Oh, yeah. I understand. I grew up in northern Indiana, a place called Valparaiso, and we have lake effect snow from Lake Michigan. So when it did snow, we would get like 2 or 3 feet at a time. I guess we're going through a whole global warming thing because, dang, it hasn't snowed that much. It snowed in Minneapolis a few times, but it's already melted off like within a week. There's really no reason to like shovel driveways or anything like that. Uh, but I remember going to school in high school. I lived pretty close to high school, so it was nice. And my high school never closed down for uh, weather. Uh, and it was kind of going to college. It was like we get 2 inches of snow and like half the school riots. And I remember getting 3 feet of snow and having to climb out my window and jump into a snowbank, say, get to school on time. Uh, but I like the snow. I like it a lot more. I like it more than the heat. Being as pale as I am, the sun is my enemy. No, thanks. I definitely appreciate it. Hi, new person that joined. Okay, back to painting. And so if you have any questions and I haven't seen them, I'll scroll through eventually and go through them. But there is a Q&A in my bio. Feel free to ask any questions there, and I'll answer his videos as best I can later. The thing is, this painting, I have a lot of direction and good idea of what I want to do and where I'm going to go. But at the same time, I have no idea what I'm doing, I feel like. But I think every artist goes through a little bit of a imposter syndrome. But I've been doing this for so long, 37, several paintings, several murals. So much of my work has been beer focused, but now I'm really kind of just doing more paintings for me. This is actually technically the third in the series. It's kind of the fifth in the series. But I didn't define the series until starting on this painting. But I enjoy painting dead trees, fallen limbs, piles of rocks. So this is my current third 4-foot tall dead tree painting. And I have two more I am going to paint right after I finish this. Honestly, I'll probably do another brewery painting first, depending if I can get to St. Louis, Missouri. I have a hopefully cool connection there, and been wanting to paint Schlafly since I've been there the first time. Be nice to kind of get in. Nice to sell a piece every now and then too, but at the same time, I should list my work. I just hear my wife in the background yelling, "Yes, you should." Especially since I've been out of the job here. But one of those things, the imposter syndrome that sits in, you kind of get the sense that if you put your stuff up, it's not going to sell because you're an imposter. But like I said, thank you, new person, for joining, or new people for joining. Talking to keep myself entertained because I usually listen to podcasts, and I'm officially out of podcast. Need some new ones. So if you have any recommendations, I'll say I listened to Keith and the Girl, which is a comedy podcast out in New York. This ex-couple, and one of the reasons I mentioned that is because thanks to them, thanks to my artwork, he actually reached out to me and I painted his album cover for his comedy album, which super happy with the way it turned out. Almost changed my whole art style just because how much I like that painting. So now I'm adapting my art style so I can get more done in a shorter amount of time, but still do some work I'm happy with and proud of, and doesn't exhaust me mentally. That's always been my issue with art. I've always done things where I have to put too much mental effort, and I get so exhausted that I just pull myself away for weeks on end. But now that I'm actually able to paint more consistently, I've been a lot more happy. Like every artist, I think we all have depression. If you don't, you're probably successful. Oh, yeah, 37. I've been doing this for so long. Taking it seriously for 20. I saw a TikTok the other day that made me laugh where it's like, "Oh, you're an artist? Tell me about the anime you started off drawing." And I'm like, "Hey, I didn't start off drawing anime. It was Elmer Fudd and Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck. Anime wasn't a thing when I was growing up." Well, it was, but I didn't watch Speed Racer or Transformers. It was Looney Tunes and DuckTales. I haven't even seen the new one, and sadly, I heard it just canceled. Still probably go back and watch it though. It just got Disney Plus. Of course, it went after WandaVision. Apparently, I'm one of the very few that thought the ending was great, but that's just me. Oh, hello from the Magic Tavern. Oh, thank you for the second comment. I have not listened to Hello from the Magic Tavern. I'm feeling it might be like a D&D podcast. Still, I'll be interested in that. But thank you so much for the comment about my work. I do appreciate it. And thank you for the new people joining as well. Oh, Astonishing Legends. Hello from the. I've never heard of any of those three, but I'll definitely check them out. Like I said, I need a lot of new ones to go for. I know I listen to a lot of like pop culture gaming uh, podcast. Laser Time is one I listen to. I don't know why that Chris Antista. He's funny. He's not funny. He's informative, and I enjoy it. But he does the podcast 30-20-10, where he talks about pop culture 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago this week. And it's like, wow, I kind of grew up with this stuff. It's pretty cool. See, I'm so self-conscious. Not about the painting. Like I can paint. I'm gonna paint my way no matter what. I wish I kind of did as a start because you'll get more momentum. Right now, it's just the slow build of structure. I don't even know where I was going with that. Huh. Too much paint fumes. Kind of want to fill in this area right here. Has a nice dark blue structure to it. Get a little bit orange in there. At least just fill in with a base color that I can build off of later. Because it has this really cool shape to it. Let's see, that's a little too light for what I want. Ooh, yeah, definitely need. I think I just realized I don't have any purple. Or manganese violet is usually the one I use. I'll just add a little bit of crimson here. Just want a little darker. Yeah, I like that. Especially in the edge here. Thin it down a bit so I can spread it. And this, I'll just flip. Oh, cool. The thing is, I'm going to download this video later and uh, post it to YouTube, so at least I'll be able to keep a note and remember it that way. But I'll definitely try it out. So I'm using photograph here. You can't see it from distance, probably. But using as a guideline, not trying to do a one-for-one copy, but use it to at least inspire the form. I can be a little loose with the shape. One of the things I used to say to myself when I was in college, It's like everyone knows what an apple looks like. No one knows what that apple looks like. So it's kind of the problem. Like when you paint a person or like something that's easy to identify, you have to be more accurate. So I used to say that to convince myself that if I did a landscape or an apple, it didn't have to be perfect. But then I always got into my own head and tried to make it as close to perfect as I could. Yeah, I'm liking this shape here. Eventually I'm going to go in and build the bark. There's a lot of like umbers and magenta right in this section. But right now, just get it down, and lighten it up, and make it look like a form attached to this tree. Uh, so you come back in here with a little bit of a lighter hue. Oh, add a little bit of orange to that. Get those down. Anything new? No. Cool. Well, hi, new people. Just here, I'm painting a twisted juniper tree. I believe that's the species of the tree, too. I had this photo for such a long time from when I went to Colorado, and trying to find what kind of tree this was involved me trying to remember the name of the park, and eventually found it. The funny thing is, the way I found it, it was on my friend's t-shirt that he bought there. So I was able to look it up and look at all the foliage of the area. And this tree looked a lot like what was called a Colorado twisted juniper. And I'm definitely going to have to go back over that later once it becomes a little tacky. I don't know, I think there's like a beauty in dead trees. But like every painting that I've regretted I haven't done has always been something involving a dead tree. Uh, Neighbors threw out a Christmas tree, and I wish I took a photograph of it because I thought it was kind of cool, but I was worried about being cheesy. As soon as I was coming home from work and decided, I am going to take a photograph and paint it, apparently some trash company already came and picked it up, and that's one tree down. Then there was another tree like in my neighborhood struck down by lightning, and it took forever for the crews to clean it up. And I just kept telling myself, "Oh, I'll get a photograph of that eventually," and I never did, and it was gone. But still, I have an abundance of photos, drawings to pull from and work from. One of the reasons I didn't actually take a photograph of that tree. But now that I'm working more, take a lot more opportunities. Heading to Cincinnati this weekend though, so I won't be working on this. Wife and I are taking a very needed trip. Oh, that didn't work out the way I wanted. Doing a bunch of escape rooms. I wouldn't say my wife is obsessed, but if I didn't say my wife was obsessed, I'd be lying. But at the same time, I find them fun too. We're doing 3 in 2 days. Yeah, I just need to fill in this shape. Boom, boom, boom. Got to redefine this chin tree limb. Proving I should clean my brushes more. Yeah, that works. That works. Pulling out some structure. Oh, I'm kind of liking the way that goes from the blue in here to the gray. Probably try to keep that. Put a more defined orange right there eventually with a cleaner brush. Yeah, that works. Get a little bit more orange in there, right there. Kind of keep that wood a little separate from the limb. Talking out loud, wow, it's a little weird. Thought the trees in Sacramento were amazing. In New York. Yeah, it's kind of weird what nature does to adapt and survive. Yeah, like one of the reasons I took a photograph of this is I grew up in the Midwest. It's like oak, maple. Just to see the roots look like a bunch of twisted, dry vines covered in bark. That was weird, but beautiful and odd and interesting, and how it affected tree, and also how the tree still looked like every other tree. Be different. I guess that's a metaphor. I'll be there eventually. Da-da-da. I'm not really sure what I want to work on. Oh, that needs more ultramarine just to get something down there. Yeah, that's better. Eventually use kind of a thicker paint to define that limb. Kind of paint into it right now. Honestly, that limb doesn't look that bad already. Build this trunk structure eventually. Get all the way. Oh, dang it, I painted something that I wanted to keep. Bringing back the idea of it. Okay. That eventually be a part of the bark ripping off. No problem. Thank you so much for joining. Definitely appreciate it. And thank you for the person that's still here. I'll probably try to do more of these, or at least announce when I'm doing them. It's a little bit more difficult. wife usually works from home, and her job's a lot more important than mine at the moment. Yeah, I shouldn't work on this painting part right here until I pick up more manganese violet. Or was it dioxide purple? I don't know, both of them are amazing for like a liquid shadow. Cadmium orange, a little bit of blue to make it gray, but more orange to keep the orange more. What was I going to paint with it? Da, 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 da. That's too bright. Ooh, a little bit of yellow here, lighten it up. Actually, it looks like I'm going to be halting soon. You charge up this puppy. And also, my phone's probably about to die too. Let's see, more stories, more stories. So, actually, I'll tell you a story. My first dead tree painting. It's a tree from Bloomington, Indiana. I did a landscape painting in college that got some attention and notoriety, and it was during a time where I felt like everything I was painting going was nowhere. I wanted to do something that would sell because I was getting frustrated. Rightfully so too. I hadn't sold anything for a long time, or if I did sell anything, it was like a $20 sketch, or undersold myself like crazy. And the only thing that I was selling was these waterfall paintings I did in college during a class. So I went from Indianapolis to Bloomington to this place where the waterfall was to take a bunch of photographs, and it just happened to be in the middle of a big drought. So the waterfall wasn't going, and there was a bunch of trees that had fallen down from a storm several days before. I'm like, that's cool. So I might as well salvage the trip, and I did a painting of those fallen trees, and I really enjoyed it. But also, there was like two other photographs that day I got paintings out of piles of rocks that turned out really well. And those sold, but I still have the first fallen tree painting. And the first fallen tree painting actually inspired me. Ugh, actually doing another one and another, because I still have those. Yeah, I have all of them. That'll make a great show one day. Let's see. Da-da-da. That's dust. And my connection's back. Yay! Dang it! Dang you, low power mode. I should take that as a sign. I will do this again, but I'll try to make a announcement ahead of time. Ba-ba-ba-ba, ba-ba, ba-ba, ba-ba-ba. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it like that today. Come back to it later after all this charges up. Oh, thank you so much for anyone still here, anyone that joined. I definitely appreciate it. Feel weird because I am always weird. But once again, thank you. Do not turn this off. Apparently, I can add effects or enhance. Oh, the Q&A actually pops up here. That's amazing. Oh, you can ask questions in my Q&A. Cool. Oh, I should have sent this out to Facebook or something like that. Wow, there's a lot of interesting stuff I can do. Admin setting. Oh, there's admin settings. Let's look at this. Comment settings. Yeah, okay. See, there needs to be a notification button. Apparently, I can add a gift, support a nonprofit. I can add moderators. Ooh. Of course, I won't mute an account. Sorry, I'm just about to close this off and just join, but sorry, phone's dying. Thank you. Just seeing what I can do with all this stuff.